This is the Goode Show. My name's Surinder and I'm a military spouse. I've been a military spouse for over 26 years and my guy served 30 years as a Navy SEAL and retired as a Command Master Chief. Now, I've heard a few stories and I've told a few stories and now I am sharing stories. Sit back, relax, grab a beer, grab a coffee and enjoy. Check us out on social media at The Goode Show. Welcome to this week's episode. My name's Surinder. I am your host and welcome to The Goode Show. Now listen, I haven't done any research for today's show. I didn't really need to do that much because this guy was so easy to talk to. And Grant Vermeer, welcome to the show.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. There's not much to research anyway, so it is all good. I'm just happy to be here.
Hey, listen, you've got a very impressive LinkedIn page, let me tell you. You know, so there is some research to be done. And we're very glad that he's on the show today because, of course, May is Military Spouse Month. Mm-hmm. And Grant, you are our first male military spouse on the show.
Come on now, let's go.
That's it. Nice. Listen, thank you for coming on today because there's a lot of things that I want to talk about. Mm-hmm. But first of all, you were active duty in the Navy, correct?
Correct.
And you were active duty for how long?
Yeah, I did basically 10 years in total, but it was 4 years at the Naval Academy. So I was a midshipman at the Naval Academy, and then I did 6 years as a cryptologic officer in the Navy, which was a really cool experience. I had a great time, and I got out just at the start of 2023. It's been 2.5 years now.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. So it's almost like you're still transitioning. Is that fair to say? You know, picking up the civilian kind of standards or what they do, you know?
100%. It's been a massive transition. Yeah. And I think what's really interesting is, you know, in the military, your life is so structured. There's clear pathways. There are milestones. They literally call them milestone billets on kind of like the officer side of the Navy. And so it's very clear what your steps are to progress. Yeah. In the civilian world, it's not that way. You kind of create your own adventure, right? And so for me, this transition is a constant evolution and constantly happening because I have to do it. And then you throw in the mix of being a military spouse and how that adjusts your life. And, you know, what I thought my career path was going to be when I was getting out is very different from what it is today. And so it's just been a really fun journey and just trying to be as adaptable as possible. And again, it's a term constant in the military community, just semper gumby, right? Always flexible. You just have to always be flexible. And that's kind of what I've tried to embrace and adopt.
I normally tell military spouses, you know, the only consistent thing with the military is change. You know, so this is why we've got to be of that character just to be able to pivot. But again, before you joined the military, you went to the Naval Academy.
Correct.
And as you were going through the Naval Academy, you realized, you know, your relationship with your family, the questions they're asking, what you're experiencing. Yep. Parents don't know what they don't know.
100%.
So you came up with a really smart idea to start a podcast.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I did. I started a thing called Academy Insider. And when it first started, really, it wasn't even a podcast, per se. I was just trying to answer questions for family members. And that was something that was really interesting because for me, it was spring break of my, we call it first year at the Naval Academy, which is your senior year. And my dad was just asking me questions and he was talking about, you know, what do you enjoy about your time at the Naval Academy? What are you looking forward to in the fleet? All these different things. And then his question to me was, what do you regret most about your time at the Naval Academy? And upon thinking about it, I felt not like bad, but I wish I would have communicated with my family better about what I was going through. Yeah. Because I put them in a really hard position of how to support me because they had no idea about what I was going through, what the experience is like, what I was feeling and what I needed in the moment. Yeah. And at the end of the day, as you're going through it, it can be so stressful and time consuming. You don't have time to explain it. And that was kind of my thing is like, okay, I want you to understand what I was going through, but I don't have an hour to explain this one really niche topic. And so, you know, he challenged me and he was like, well, what are you going to do to make it better for the next wave of people coming through the Naval Academy? And so I was like, interesting. Like, I like that challenge. And so that's kind of the origin of Academy Insider was, you know, I came into the Naval Academy and absolutely hated it. Like I was like coming in like our version of boot camp, we call it plebe summer. I was like, no, this is not for me. Like I'm out of here. I kind of notoriously wrote a note home over plebe summer that said it was addressed only to mom. Right? Like normally I'd write letters home and it was like to the family, Vermeer family, blah, blah, blah. This one was just to mom. And it said on the beautiful like Naval Academy letterhead, it's perfect. It just said, I hate this place. Please save me, Mom.
Wow.
And so I was just like, yeah, it was not my thing. But then again, by the time I was getting ready to graduate, I had really, again, I bought in, right? I really believed in the mission and really grew to appreciate it. Had some incredible experiences at the Naval Academy, and ended up being kind of in the full cycle of life. Ended up being what we call the regimental commander of Plebe Summer, which is just kind of a high level ranking position where I worked hand in hand with the actual like commissioned officer in charge of Plebe Summer. And it was so cool to see that and have gone from like the bottom of the bottom to being able to take a great role during Plebe Summer. And
what changed your mind though? Because I mean, you wrote the note home and said, get me out of here, basically. Mm-hmm. What happened from writing that note to you having that mind, that change of mind? What was it? Was it an incident, a situation? What made you just think, all right, man, I'm here, I gotta do it, it's gotta suck it up?
Man, it's the power of people, right? And I would never, or I guess my thing is, I would always encourage people to never underestimate the impact they can make in people's lives with simple action, right? And for me, I had mentors and I had friends who were there for me, who helped me out, who, when I was going through really difficult times, they supported me, they encouraged me, but they also challenged me and held me accountable. Mm-hmm. And there were a couple of moments where I was super down. I was kind of pouty about the whole thing. I was like, I don't like it here, blah, blah, blah. And I had some friends who challenged me, and they're like, hey, look, at the end of the day, you can't control this circumstance or situation you're in, but you choose how you respond to it. So you can either choose to be like a complainer and whine about everything, or you can start to like take accountability for what's going on and work through it and make the most of it, right? And so that was a challenge that like took a little bit to resonate with me, but once it hit, I was just like, I got it. And I was so appreciative that I was in an environment where there were people like that to hold me accountable, challenge me, encourage me through that process, right? Incredible mentors and friends. And so that's kind of what led to that whole kind of transformation and change.
Because that's got to be difficult, to have that kind of like mindset. Yeah. Especially the change.
Sure.
So after you've gone through the military, you've come out now, and you went into a financial field. Is that right? See, I didn't do any research.
Yeah. So in the Navy, I was a cryptologic officer. I was a cyber operations, like cybersecurity major.
What's a crypto? Because that just sounds painful to me.
It's painful. So for everyone listening, like if you are in tune with the Navy, so I was basically an officer in charge of the CT community, the CT rating. And it's all things Navy, cyber operations, signals intelligence, and electronic warfare. So a lot of big buzzwords about what we do, but it's a lot of, again, technological radio frequency type communication type specialty and field. The Navy has since changed, and they've separated like cyber operations, and like cyber is now its own designator. There's I forget the exact like Navy enlisted rating, but there's a new enlisted rating, and then on the officer side, they've created a new designator as well for that. And so now it's just everything radars and signals. And so that's kind of what I did. Nice and nerdy.
Well, then that kind of like explains to some extent you going into financial field after you left the military. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, no, for me, again, I think this is, I believe in radical transparency, right? I don't like when people try and like pump stuff up, but for me, it was a little bit of nepotism, right? And so my mom had been a longtime real estate agent in the San Francisco Bay Area, and I knew when I was getting out, a big priority for me was that I wanted to spend way more time with my family and friends. When I was in the Navy, I did 4 submarine deployments in that 5-year span. It was a ton. And I missed the birth of my nieces. I missed birthdays. I missed Christmases. I missed Thanksgivings. I just missed so much that I was just craving the ability to be present with my family. Yeah. And so I was like, even at the sake of overdoing it, I was like, the best way to do that is by working with my family, working with my mom in the family business. And so as I was transitioning out, I knew I wanted to get into the real estate world. For me, that was, it was entrepreneurial, which I really enjoyed. And 2, it gave me the opportunity to quite literally but get to talk with my mom literally every single day. Yes, right. And so it was an incredible opportunity to do that. I knew as I was getting out at the time, I was, basically single, and I just wanted to, start a new life, live a normal life in a fun city like Austin. And so I moved to Austin, got into the real estate world, and that was kind of the start of my transition out of the Navy.
But no, even though it was the start of your transition out the Navy, you've never really been far from the military, because
you're married now.
Yes.
You're more or less a newlywed. Congratulations.
Thank you, yeah.
And so you've been a military spouse for a couple of years now.
Yep.
And how different has that been for you? And taking into consideration, not only have you stepped into the shoes of a military spouse, you're transitioning out, transitioning into the military spouse space.
Yeah.
That's a big change right there.
Yeah.
How's it been for you?
It's hectic, but I love it. And, again, I'm so happy to be married. I'm with the love of my life, and I'm just like so grateful for that. And that's more important than anything to me in the world, right? And as we talk about the priorities of me wanting to get out of the Navy was more than anything in this world, I wanted to be a husband and I want to be a dad.
Yeah.
Like family to me is so darn important. And when I was deploying constantly, it wasn't conducive with like me being able to prioritize that. And so, as I was getting out, you mentioned not being far away from the Navy ever. As I was getting out, I'm on terminal leave. I'm using my last couple days of PTO before I get out of the Navy. And I went to San Diego to just visit friends because I have 1.5 million friends in San Diego. And that's when I met my wife. Like I reconnected out there because we both went to the Naval Academy, but we didn't really know each other.
Yeah.
And so we reconnected in San Diego, and we kind of hit it off on day one. And I was like, uh-oh.
You're moving.
Yeah, because I'm here I'm in Austin, and I was telling myself, it's like I don't want a long distance relationship. I don't want to do any of these. I just want to be a normal person for a little bit, and like date in a normal city. And no, that didn't happen at all. And it was tough because again, as we talk about being a military spouse, it was difficult because I had built, the year leading out to my transition, I had built a business plan.
Yes.
I had built an idea of what I wanted to do professionally around the idea of being in Austin. Right. And it's hard because you can't make like real tangible plans at the start of a relationship because you don't know like kind of what's going to happen. And so I had this idea of a plan for a whole year getting out. And then the first year of our relationship, I was living in Austin. She was in San Diego. We were doing long distance, and I was building my business in Austin. And, obviously the relationship got more serious, and that's when I was like, holy smokes, like, I really love this girl. Like, this is going to happen. And she's in the Navy. So we don't really have a choice, right? I'm going to be going to San Diego at some point. And so it kind of just caused an immense amount of change in my world.
Do you think, though, that because you were active duty before, maybe you had a better understanding of, okay, now I get it, when people talk about having to move and having no choice.
Yeah.
So do you think by being in the Navy that gave you a bit of an edge of understanding?
I like to think, who knows what my wife actually thinks, but I like to think I have a lot of patience regarding what the Navy dictates, right? Because I understand, right? And I think that's like a tough piece because it does affect your life, but I also know like it's not like my wife is like choosing to do this necessarily. It's just like, hey, it's just the reality of the military lifestyle. And so that kind of Semper Gumby feel, like it is what it is, right? And the most important thing to me in the entire world is just like being there for my wife and being with my wife. And so it was just like, okay, like it's just going to have to be the way it is. And so it's kind of how it all works.
So you moved to San Diego.
Yep.
What happened to your real estate business? Did you bring it? Well, you can't bring it to San Diego, can you? Or can you? How does that work?
You kind of can. It's just difficult because I didn't really know San Diego, right? And a big piece of being a real estate agent is knowing the neighborhood and the community that you're a part of.
Yeah.
And so we were kind of, again, the beauty was that my mom and I were still partners, and my mom was still physically in Austin, so we were still able to kind of manage and run the business. But I had to have some like real conversations about where am I going to invest my time, energy, effort, and money into like building a business. If I'm going to be in San Diego, it's not sustainable long term to like, continue to build a business in Austin. And again, back to the military spouse life is, she's going to be up for orders in November of 2026, which is a year and a half from now. Like, am I going to spend time building a business here just to then move again to Pensacola or whatever it is? And so, that was a tough realization as well as like, all right, like, I guess I could build a business here, but then what happens when we move there? Am I doing it all over again, right?
But it didn't stop you though, because I want to talk about this fabulous app that you program that you have engineered together. And again, your career history now makes perfect sense to me. radars, nerdy, finances. I mean, with all love and light, you know what I mean? Way above my pay grade. For you to tell us about the app.
Yeah.
Okay. And now it's called Valor.
Valor.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah, no, thank you for asking. So I'm part of a founding team. I helped start an app called Valor. And really our goal is how do we automate and simplify the military discount process?
Yes. Yeah.
And, it's something really interesting, kind of like the background and the why is like when I was thinking about my time in the military, I was someone who just never asked for a military discount.
Yes.
I just felt it was kind of uncomfortable. I just didn't want to do it.
As an active duty member.
As an active duty service member, right?
And there's a lot of active duty that never say
anything. And so, again, in reflection, I was like, I probably missed out on potentially thousands of dollars in savings over the time of my active duty service just because I just didn't want to ask. And so, I felt like there was a potential need for a solution that can, positively impact a community I really care about, which is the military and the veteran community. And then I, was trying to figure out how we work on that. And I met an incredible group of guys. There's 5 of us in total, 1 other Naval Academy guy. And then, this guy, his name's Freddie. Freddie's really like the head brainchild of this whole thing, an incredible human being. And he approached me and he's like, hey, do you want to work on this project with us? And I was all on board. And so the idea, again, in purpose is like trying to solve that solution, which is automating and simplifying the military discount process. And so we have an app. It's called Valor. As a military member, you would sign up for the app. We would verify your military status. Then you link a card to your account. And then at that point, that card is basically linked to your military status. And whenever you swipe or pay at a store that is partnered with Valor, then you get your military discount automatically applied as cashback.
As cashback as well. I love that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. And so it's a really cool opportunity because, again, you no longer have to go and ask if they have a discount.
Yes.
You don't have to show your card. Or if you forget your ID card for, God forbid, then it's like it's automatically there. It just automatically happens. And so, that was a big piece of it, is just to make it simple for the service member. We also, again, as a small business person myself, doing this, is we really wanted to connect service members with the local community who really supports them via military discount.
Yes.
Right. And so for us, it's interesting because, as we all know, in the military, whether it's you're PCSing somewhere for the first time, you're on TAD orders, you're going somewhere for a training, or you're going somewhere for a temporary assignment. Like sometimes you have to get to know an area and you don't know where to go. Right. And so part of the app is that there's an interface where you can look and see all of the stores that offer a military discount.
That's beautiful, because I know that there's a lot of stores that don't advertise that they do a military discount. But I have to say, I thought about your app this weekend, and this is where spouses, I think this is where you're going to have to do for your guys, because I went down to a hardware store here, and I'm going to say it was Home Depot. I had a great experience. I went in there and they were absolutely awesome, especially in the East Lake area. But we went in there, and with Home Depot, they give 10%. And so my husband should have downloaded the app and whatever, done everything, and was standing at the cash desk. And no, doesn't want to ask for the discount. So I'm like, here, let me put my number in. Do you know what I mean? And the woman said to him, look, all you've got to do is download the app. Now, the beautiful thing about what you're doing is we can just download that app. My guy doesn't even have to ask. Just use that credit card and he's automatically going to get it. I think, going back to your point, there's probably thousands of dollars out there that we can save, that our service members can save, that we just don't, because we just don't want to take that dependent ID out.
Because they're comfortable. It's a weird phenomenon because, like, again, us in the military, we're supposed to be, like, tough and okay with being uncomfortable. But when it comes to asking for a silly little discount and showing your ID, it just feels weird.
When I got my military ID, and again, maybe it's because I'm an expat, right? And I've got my military ID. I remember the first time I went through the Sentry. And I took my ID out, and I was taking my husband on base for some reason or something. Actually, he was driving, and I took my military ID out in the passenger side, and I'm all like wanting to show it, and my husband looks at me and he's like, "Calm down. It's not like you're the FBI or something. Put it away, lady." But I was like, I got my military ID, you know.
No, 100%. Oh, please go.
So listen, what I did was I downloaded the app, and that was very, very easy for me to do.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to get my guy to get his stuff verified.
Yep.
Is it, so right now the app is available. They can get it on the, is it the iPhone store?
Yeah, so if you go to the App Store, you can download. You type in Valor USA would be the way to kind of go and download it right now. As this releases on May 6th, which I'm really excited about, at this point we'll have launched.
Nice.
So as we're having this conversation
Yes.
right now, we're still pre-launch. We're getting ready to go, and what's exciting is that our kind of what we're considering like our beta test case is all on Coronado.
Okay.
And so a beautiful thing as of right now, we have over 70% of the restaurants and businesses on Coronado onboarded onto the Valor network.
Okay.
And so we're hoping to, again, encourage the military community to use this, to take advantage of it. If you're stationed at the amphibious base on Coronado or at the air station and you just want to go get lunch, go to a store that offers the military discount via Valor and just go and automatically do it, because what we would love to do, and our goal really is to expand throughout San Diego, right? The entire San Diego community. And, what we're hoping to do is just show a test case, a proof of concept here in Coronado that there's a demand, there's a need for it, and it's valuable, right?
Absolutely. And the fact that you get cash back, I mean, who doesn't love that, cash back as well. So first of all, where do people go to download the app? I said the iPhone because I'm technically challenged still.
Yep.
It's the App Store.
The App Store, Whether you're Android or an iPhone user, you just go to your App Store, type in Valor USA, and then from that point you'll sign in, and there will be a quick verification where you'll enter kind of your date of birth, the day you entered the service that you were in, etc. Information that we need to kind of go through databases to verify your military affiliation, whether that's active duty or as a veteran.
Okay.
And then at that point, it's once you're verified, it'll happen quite literally in seconds.
Okay.
At that point, then you have access to the homepage that shows all of the, again, businesses that offer a military discount. You can search through it. You can see where they offer a discount and how much of a discount they offer. And then you can just link your card to your account.
Now, if you're a business that wants to get involved, how do they connect with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can first of all, you can send me an email at grant@joinvalor.com. Okay. We can also, put link to the show notes as well for the Valor website, /business, so you can see everything about it. We have an ability, a contact form if they want to reach out. Again, our hope for businesses as well is that as we build this military community on the app, that this is an incredible source of visibility for your business, and the fact that you support the military community. And we intend to drive a lot of businesses to the local community that truly supports our military service members via a discount. And so
I love that. I love that.
It.
Especially the fact there's a lot of small businesses out there that do genuinely want to support our military.
Yep.
Okay, so this is awesome. Grant, it has been great having you on the show today. I'm really excited because, again, like you said, by the time this show launches May 6th, the app will have launched as well. And that way you're just going to go to the App Store, download Valor, and it's spelled VALOR.
Correct.
Okay, perfect. Yep. Grant, good having you on the show today. Last question I've got for you. Okay. Any male military spouses listening out there, what kind of advice would you give them?
Yeah, no, again, I think it's really interesting because originally, so my wife just left on deployment about a month ago. Okay. And, I was like talking myself up. I was like, I've been on deployment a bunch of times, right? I was like, this will be easy. Like, I get it. I've been away. And, what's funny is that, like, the actual goodbye was okay. I think I've kind of become, and maybe this isn't healthy, but I've kind of become numb to saying goodbye. Like, that just feels normal to people that I love. But then that afternoon, like, she flew away early in the morning. She's a helicopter pilot. They flew off to the carrier. I got back to our apartment that night and sat down on the couch, and it hit you. Yeah. That, like, I'm going to be alone for the next 8 months. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
And that was really difficult.
It is.
Like, that was really difficult. And I'm starting to, again, I'm learning actively, like, day by day, how difficult it is to be on this side.
Yes.
Right? Because when you're out there, when you're doing the thing, you're so ingrained, you're so involved, you're so active in what you're doing. You have a mission, you have purpose, you have constant community of what's going on. being back here is really difficult.
It is.
Because you're trying to live your normal life
Yeah.
without the person you love most in the world.
Yeah.
And so that was a massive, massive learning curve and an emotional adjustment for me. And so, especially for the male military spouses, and again, not to play too much into stereotypical gender roles,
Yeah,
but we're
yeah.
kind of like, oh, guys, less emotional, it'll be fine, do these things. Like, don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help, right?
Yeah.
Like, for
Yeah.
me, and again, I'm lucky to have an incredible community of friends here in San Diego and also my family.
Yeah.
I had to send a couple messages to a couple people that I love, and I was like, I need you guys.
Yeah.
Right. Like I'm like, this is a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. And I'm getting pretty emotional here. And so, just to, my encouragement to, especially to male military spouses, which is a much smaller community.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
It is just be open to saying like, hey, I could use a little community.
Yes.
I can use a little help. Right.
And I think because it's not a big community, guys don't reach out.
Sure.
Because I remember I met another military spouse and I was like, hey, dude, so who do you reach out to go and have beers with? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of healthy, you
Sure.
know? And he's like, I haven't had a beer with somebody for a long time,
Yeah.
I normally have a beer when the kids go down to sleep, which
Yeah.
I totally get too. But it's always nice to go out and, like you said, reach into your community.
Yeah.
Grant, again, thank you for your service.
I appreciate it.
Thank you for being such a supportive military spouse. And hey, dude, you continue to serve as well. And I've always said this about, service members. There's this inherent continuing to serve afterwards like you are with this app. Once again, it is the Valor app. You can go to your iPhone app store. I keep calling it
Any app store, go to any app store and download the Valor app. Again, also, I'd encourage you, again, if you are a LinkedIn person, to follow me on LinkedIn. I believe in this concept of working out loud.
Yeah.
So if you want to follow along the journey of us trying to build this app and, again, hopefully helping and serving, potentially millions of service members and veterans and families, again, eventually, hopefully across the country, come join along. Like that would mean the world to me. And again, I just have this motto, right, of being a man for others, right? This is an ethos. This is an ethos that I really care about, and I'm just so excited about Valor because, in my opinion, again, if this works, if we're able to create the community that we're hoping for, again, this is going to be a benefit to millions of families in a community that I care deeply about.
Yeah,
and so
it doesn't cost anybody anything, and you can actually get something back from it.
Yep. And I think this is interesting. So I'll actually take this chance if I can really quick. Again, I mentioned earlier, I believe in radical transparency. Like I don't like sugarcoating anything as radical transparency, which is, again, this app is completely free for service members. But we are a business, right? And so the way we make money, just so there's no like hidden fees for the service members, is we charge the businesses. Right? There's a standard transaction fee for the business. And that's how we make money. So again, for the service for the service member community, it's not like we're trying to hide anything or do anything. No, like we make our money via the businesses that sign up to be a part of us, right? And so, again, it's hopefully a win-win as we drive more business to the local restaurants and stores. But again, it requires the adoption of the community to make it really worthwhile and valuable. And so, again, my opinion is that like this is a community that's built by people who have lived the experience, for the people who are currently living it, and we're building it right now. Like this is. We encourage feedback. Like if you're watching this, we want your feedback. We want suggestion and help.
Go log on. Let us know. We'll let Grant know. Was it easy? Was it hard? He's doing the beta testing right now in Coronado. And with Coronado, with so many service members there, I mean, there's really no excuse, at all. Grant, again, awesome to have you on.
Appreciate it.
And we want to follow up with the app as well, and we want to see how it's growing. And we'll get some feedback from your people that have logged on as well.
Love it. I can't wait. Thank you so much for having me today. This is super fun. I love getting to do this.
You're very, very welcome. And listen, we're going to edit that little bit out, but we did have a little earthquake here. We just want people to know. We actually halfway through recording. It was, Kim, what was it, 6 on the Richter scale?
They're saying 5.2.
5.26, same.
Round up. Yeah, just round up.
And we're just going to round it up, that's crazy. And we're in the basement, our studio's in the basement, and the whole thing shook. That was insane.
That was insane.
No, you owe me a drink.
Listen, my name's Surinder. I've been your host today. Grant has been my guest. Valor is the app that you need to download. See you again in 2 weeks. I'm Surinder, and I'm out.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to The Goode Show. I hope you have been inspired by today's conversation. If you loved what you heard, help us spread the word. Follow me on Instagram @The Goode Show. As military spouses, we all have stories to share, experiences, resources, and support. I want to hear your story and highlight your business. Let's connect, DM me, or visit surindergoode.com to share your journey. Until next time, take care, stay inspired, and keep doing good things.